Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today. This is your primetime destination as always for news, newsmakers, talking points, the real news, news without the noise. Tonight on the news today, we'll tell you how the first battle after Lok Sabha 2024 is now pitched. Who has the edge, the India alliance of the opposition or the ruling NDA alliance? Also, my special guest tonight, former Indian envoy to Pakistan, Parthasarathy, he was in charge when the Kandahar hijack took place. He'll tell us more on that when we join him on the news today. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9 tonight. Battle lines are drawn in poll-bound Haryana. Photograph of Rahul Gandhi with Vinesh, Pogat and Bajrang Punia sparks of speculation over whether Olympic wrestlers will now contest on a Congress ticket. BJP releases its first list. 9 sitting MLAs are dropped. Rahul Gandhi kicks off his Jammu and Kashmir poll campaign, makes a restoration of statehood his key plank. Says Prime Minister Modi will be ousted from power soon. Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav slams bulldozer action in Uttar Pradesh. Says Yogi's Gorakhpur bastion will be razed next. Yogi hits out, claims only the capable can steer a bulldozer. The Bollywood sex abuse storm continues to unravel. Actor Naveen booked for gang rape. He refused the charges. Kannada film actors now also seek probe into harassment charges in Sandalwood. Big peace boost in the northeast. Centre signs peace deal with Tripura insurgents after they lay down their arms. Home Minister hails the agreement. Says decade-long struggle has finally ended. Prime Minister Narendra Modi gets a grand welcome in Singapore. Meets his counterpart Lawrence Wong. Boosting strategic partnership, attracting investments, the big focus. Former Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh is booked by the CBI on charges of allegedly framing BJP netas in an old case. Deshmukh hits out, claims the BJP is getting nervous ahead of the elections. Communal tensions erupt in Telangana's Jainur district. Arson and violence over the alleged rape of a tribal woman. Key accused arrested. Security beefed up amidst communal tensions. Trouble mounts for former IAS probationer Pooja Khedkar. Delhi police says Khedkar forged one of her disability certificates after hospital says they didn't authorize it. But the big news breaking at this moment, the Bharatiya Janata Party has got into poll mode and released its first list for the Haryana Assembly election scheduled for the first week of October. 9 sitting MLAs have been dropped, 2 MLA seats have been changed. The Chief Minister Nayab Singh Saini will fight from Ladwa. Anil Vij is the other big minister who will be contesting from Ambala Cantonment, which is his home turf. The sons and daughters of several ex-netas have been fielded. At least half a dozen prominent names already in the BJP list of those who are the sons and daughters of former netas being fielded. But that's the first list of the BJP that's come out in a way setting the tone for the elections in the state. Remember, the BJP has been in power in Haryana for the last 10 years, and if pollsters are to be believed, is facing anti-incumbency this time. Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar was changed there before the Lok Sabha elections, and Nayab Singh Saini is hoping to revive the BJP's fortunes in the state. So the first list of the BJP is out. This on a day, of course, when a lot of the attention was on what was happening also in the Congress party, because early this morning a picture came out, and we'll show you that picture in a moment, which showed Rahul Gandhi with Vinesh Pogat and Bajrang Punia, both Olympian wrestlers who were part of the protests that took place in the national capital last year. All of this has led to speculation. Is the Congress planning to field Bajrang Punia or Vinesh Pogat in the Haryana polls. But it's not just Haryana. Jammu and Kashmir as well as Maharashtra are also set now to go to the polls. And for the India Alliance, this is their big major test after the Lok Sabha. Can they build on momentum, or is the BJP in comeback mode? Take a look at our top story.
Vinesh Pogat and Bajrang Punia with leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi. Their meeting on Wednesday morning has sparked speculation that the Olympian wrestlers could enter the poll fray in Haryana.
विनेश फोगाट या बजरंग पुनिया का नाम नहीं है, उसके बारे में भी मैं समझ रहा हूं परसों तक कोई क्लैरिटी हो जाएगी.
The Congress maneuvers in Haryana are not limited to wooing the wrestlers. It is also in talks with the Aam Aadmi Party for seat sharing.
आम आदमी पार्टी के साथ अलायंस की बात जो है, इट इज इन अ वेरी वेरी प्रिमिटिव मोड. उसको एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं और उसके लिए आपको आगामी 2-3 दिन में कुछ नतीजा, कुछ डेवलपमेंट होगा तो बताया जाएगा.
निश्चित रूप से भारतीय जनता पार्टी को हराना हम सबकी प्राथमिकता है, लेकिन इसके बारे में आधिकारिक रूप से जो हमारे प्रभारी हैं हरियाणा के, वो लोग इसके बारे में अंतिम फैसला बातचीत करके और इसकी सूचना केजरीवाल साहब को देंगे और उस हिसाब से निर्णय लिया जाएगा.
The BJP, which is in power in Haryana for the last 10 years, played down Congress-AAP alliance efforts.
आम आदमी पार्टी के साथ गठबंधन की सोचने लगी, इसका अर्थ है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी तीसरी बार जीत रही है. अब आम आदमी पार्टी कौन है जिसने दिल्ली का सत्यानाश कर दिया? हरियाणा कभी भी उनको नहीं बिठाएगा. और कांग्रेस वही है जिसने फारूक अब्दुल्ला के साथ मिलकर के कश्मीर में 370 फिर से लगाएंगे.
The India bloc formed to fight the Lok Sabha polls in 2024 remains intact for the first big face-off since the general election. Rahul Gandhi campaigned for the Congress-NC alliance in Jammu and Kashmir on Wednesday.
हमने नरेंद्र मोदी को साइकोलॉजिकली उड़ा दिया है. इंडिया गठबंधन खड़ा हो गया, एक साथ मिलकर हम लड़े, पूरी की पूरी कॉन्फिडेंस हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री की गायब हो गई है.
The biggest test for India bloc and the NDA will come in Maharashtra. The opposition alliance, however, appears divided over the CM phase there.
निवडणूक झाल्यावर मोरारजी देसाई यांचं नाव घ्यायचे. निवडणुकीत मतं मागताना मोरारजीबाईंचं नाव कधीही जाहीर केलेलं नव्हतं आणि त्यामुळे आत्ताच नाव जाहीर केलं पाहिजे या आग्रह करण्याची काही आवश्यकता नाहीये.
After restricting the BJP to 240 seats in the Lok Sabha elections, the India bloc is attempting a repeat at the state level, where they seem to have a better chance. With Mosmi Singh, Bureau Report, India Today.
So battle lines drawn once again, and these elections in a way will tell us whether 2024 was an aberration when the opposition rose and the BJP seemed to dip. Those are the questions I will raise. Will the India bloc remain intact for this big round two? Is Rahul Gandhi being overconfident, or is he on the right track? Can the BJP get back its mojo? Just some of the questions we will raise. Sandeep Shastri is National Coordinator, Lokniti, tracks electoral politics very closely. Tuin Sinha, BJP spokesperson, joining us. Dr. Ajoy Kumar, Congress's spokesperson, joining us. We also are being joined by Jasmine Shah of the Aam Aadmi Party. But I want to start with you, Ajoy Kumar, because the big buzz at the moment is that the Congress believes it's on the comeback trail, starting with Haryana. This morning we saw a picture of Rahul Gandhi with Vinesh Pogat and Bajrang Punia. Is the Congress planning to bring these wrestlers, Olympic dissenting wrestlers, into the fray? Is the Congress basically saying, our moment has come, our time has come? Does the Congress really believe that you're on the road to recovery? Or was 2024 June only a false dawn? You only got 99 seats in the end.
Look, I think, Rajdeep, the writing is on the wall. Even your surveys and everybody else's surveys, except those few surveys which seem to be permanently the paid media kind of surveys which keep coming up. The independent surveys continue to show that the Congress in Haryana is in outstanding shape. The India Alliance is in outstanding shape in Maharashtra. Even in my state of Jharkhand, everybody's saying even Steven, but I'm very, very confident that the India Alliance will get through very well. And so is the story in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, that's what we feel. That's what.
So what am I to make out with this picture? Dr. Ajay Kumar, what am I to make out with the picture I just showed on screen with Vinesh, Pogat and Bajrang Punia? Is the Congress planning to bring them in? Do you need some star power? Are you desperately looking for some star power in Haryana?
So that's a very, very what you call cynical view of looking at things, Rajdeep. The fact of life is that Bajrang Punia and Vinesh Pogat are the heroes of this country. Everybody is a fan of Vinesh Pogat and Bajrang Punia. And if they've met Mr. Gandhi, it's too premature for me to say that, what's going to happen, or what's their role going to be. But it will be wonderful to have them fight the election for the simple reason is they're young people. Aspiration of the young people can identify with them a lot. And there's a momentum when people like Bajrang Punia, people like Vinesh Pogat, who have spoken against people like Brij Bhushan Singh, the Bharatiya Janata Party's army of members of parliament and people who have been alleged, because Twin Sinha would say that they have not been convicted, alleged molesters and attempted to outrage the modesty of women. Such kind of people, when people like Vinesh who have spoken up against the system, I think it will be a huge win, and it will also resonate with the women population. Okay, so you're in a way hoping that they will join your party. But Twin Sinha, would I be right in saying that the BJP comes into this election not exactly in great shape? In Jammu and Kashmir, you released a list and then had to take it back because there were protests. In Haryana, every poll that I've seen shows considerable anti-incumbency against the government. You had to change your chief minister 6 months ago. And even in Jharkhand, there are reports of sympathy wave for Hemant Soren in the tribal areas. And in Maharashtra too, the Mahavikas Aghadi seems to be getting its act together in terms of seat sharing, while we don't know whether Ajit Pawar will be part of your alliance come election time. So would I be right in saying the momentum for now, at least this time, is with the opposition?
Well, good evening, Rajdeep. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Contrary to the misplaced optimism that you and Dr. Ajay Kumar share,
I don't share. I don't share. I'm only telling you what the mood.
Improvement.
I don't share necessarily his optimism. I'm telling you the facts.
I think these were similar. I think many journalists had a similar sense before the assembly elections last year in November, December, and the results were there for everybody to see. Now the point is, even the Congress party realizes that its limited improvement in the 2024 Lok Sabha polls was a flash in the pan. It has no new agenda, and therefore it has embarked on a very malified two-point ulterior agenda. One is, the fiscal anarchy model, which you see in Himachal, which you see in Telangana and Karnataka, where they overpromise but simply don't have the ability to deliver. Now, I think, after what has happened in Himachal, people in the remaining 4 states which are going to assembly polls are actually asking, can they trust this Congress party which has fiscal anarchy written all over its plans? Number 2, the divisive agenda. You must be aware, today Rahul Gandhi has given a speech in Kashmir where he's saying outsiders are taking your job. Can you imagine a national leader propagating this line? This is the language which Yasin Malik used to speak. How are the Dalits? How is the Valmiki Samaj? How is the Gorkha Samaj, which has benefited from the abrogation of Article 370, outsider? And I think on your show tonight, the Congress party must explain, will it bring back Article 370? It needs to be candid. And when it comes to Haryana, can you imagine that they are so underconfident that number one, they might want to piggyback on the two sportspersons who are unhappy with the system, and number two, they are desperate for an alliance with Aam Aadmi Party. If the Congress is so confident, let Ajay Kumar say that they are not having an alliance in Haryana.
Okay. You've raised a couple of important questions. Before I come to Jasmine Shah, Ajay Kumar, respond to specifically the Kashmir question first. The National Conference is your ally there. They've made it very clear that if they come to power, they will seek restoration of Article 370. Not easy. Most believe it's impossible. Rahul Gandhi today said outsiders, obviously referring in a way to reservations that have been given in J&K and suggesting that Kashmiris are losing their rights. Are you playing with fire when you go into Kashmir with the National Conference in the times in which we live? The BJP is already accusing you of being anti-national once again.
Look, the advantage of the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson is lack of repeating lies, and lack of reading really helps them a lot. And genuinely, they live in a la-la land. Congress said we support the 370, the process was wrong. But Mr. Tuin Sinha and that Mr. Tiwari and the continuous brigade of lies, spewing lies morning to evening. So I would request them to please read the parliamentary discussion, sir, on what our stand is. If you want, I'll send you the links, Mr. Tuin Sinha. Firstly, the 370, we said that the process was wrong. Abrogation of 370 was right. The process was wrong repeatedly, Congress President. But you guys have taken the...
no, you support the abrogation of 370? Let me be very clear. Congress supports the abrogation of 370?
Rajdeep,
first question.
One minute, Mr. Sinha.
Yes, so let me complete.
One minute, Mr. Sinha.
One sec. The Congress clearly said that the abrogation of 370, the process was wrong. The requirement was yes. You continuously read the statement which was made by the Congress, whether it's Jairam Ramesh and everybody's statement on that. The breaking up the state from a state to a union territory was wrong. The process was wrong. If the process was followed rightly, we would have supported it. The problem was every opposition leader said that clearly, but they continued to spew lies. Secondly, so you got my words, read my lips. Second issue, on reservation, Rahul Gandhi didn't say outsiders was the people who got the reservation in the areas of Jammu, Kashmir and all. He said that the Bharatiya Janata Party changed the land purchase rules so that people from their RSS and Delhi would go and buy land and capture the land. That the rule is even in Jharkhand, outsiders cannot buy tribal lands. But the Bharatiya Janata Party had their eyes on the land of Kashmir and they wanted to send all their businessmen friends. That is what we are saying is against that the outsiders were allowed to buy land. Not the people of Jammu, not the people of Kashmir. No, one sec, Rajdeep. There is a great happiness in being not reading, or being misinformed. So let's be very clear. What did the BJP say? That anybody can go and buy land in Kashmir. The problem is Himachal also has the same rule that you can't go and buy land in Himachal. Have they abrogated that rule? They have not. So the question is certain states had rules and regulations preventing people from outside the rest of India to buy land to protect the culture and the land of that place. Himachal had that land. Uttarakhand didn't have.
Do you want to respond? Do you now want to respond to the fact that if you are so confident of Haryana, why are you looking for a tie-up with Aam Aadmi Party?
Oh, the question again is, if you're okay, let me tell you something, that the BJP had 27 parties in the alliance. They're so shameless, yeah. They're depending on Telugu Desam, they're depending on Nitish Kumar, they're depending on Chirag Paswan, and then they go and give Gyan on alliance and strength. My question is, they're depending actually on ED, CBI, and by the way, they keep giving bail to Mr. Ram Rahim. What do you think? The guy who gave bail to Ram Rahim, Pero, is now the jailer is in their party, got a ticket. So they are so shameless that they continues to give payroll to Mr. Ram Rahim, who was accused in a rape and murder, by the way.
Can I?
So, one sec.
No.
Answer me, Ram Rahim payroll.
Okay, let him answer that.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Please, on national TV. Mr. Tuin Sinha, please reply. Because you have been giving payroll, so please educate me on that.
For our audiences, Ram Rahim is convicted. Just a minute, he's responded to your Kashmir question. He's now raised a counter question saying in the context of Haryana, you are looking once again at the Deras to support you and you keep giving Ram Rahim parole, and according to him, those involved are going to get tickets from your party.
What ticket?
No, there's no question of that. There is a legal process involved. The government is not involved with giving the bail. The point is he has not been able to define who is an outsider, because I can tell you in Kashmir, most of the people who have taken land in the last 5 years are women. Kashmiri women who are married outside Kashmir. He calls them outsider. How can a national party be so anti-women? That is the question. He has not been able to define an outsider over here.
Rajdeep, just a minute, both of you, 1 minute. Our audiences need to know, the fact is that there were changes made that allowed, yes, Kashmiri women not domiciled in the valley to get land, but it also allowed outsiders.
Absolutely, I'm glad you're stating that.
It also allowed, just a minute, sir. It has also allowed outsiders, therefore.
And there was no rule, Rajdeep, and mind you, there was nowhere was it mentioned that this rule is for RSS workers and for businessmen for Gujarat. What kind of hatred does the Congress party have for businessmen from Gujarat?
Can I for a moment?
The rule is applicable to all.
Okay, I've heard both sides. And therefore, I want to bring in Jasmine Shah, who's also listening patiently, because Jasmine, we are looking at the bigger picture. We start with Haryana. Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana go together. And Haryana, suddenly the Aam Aadmi Party seems to be very keen on an alliance with the Congress. What's the deal? What is the deal that you have with the Congress? Is that what you are looking for, to be a junior partner in Haryana and then maybe strike a deal in Delhi also with the Congress?
Rajdeep, first let me correct you that, Aam Aadmi Party seems to have suddenly emerged on the scenes of Haryana politics. I think that is a wrong inference from what you have just said. Aam Aadmi Party over the last 5 years, after we won the Delhi elections in 2020 convincingly and 2022 with a wave in Punjab, Haryana is sandwiched between Delhi and Punjab. And especially after 2022, there has been a huge wave of support across Haryana for Aam Aadmi Party. Today, we have a Sangathan.
You haven't won a single seat, with due regard. You haven't won a single MLA seat or an MP seat yet.
No, so I'm coming to that, Rajdeep. I'm saying this has happened over the last 5 years. Right? And the 2022 Punjab elections is a reflection of that. Now, that is precisely the reason that in the India alliance, we had an understanding with Congress, because we realized, the Congress has also given us 1 seat during India alliance. We had a good understanding. And that is the reason, because we don't want to cut the opposition votes. Now, today, stepping back, what is the big picture of Haryana? Over the last 10 years, Haryana has become a failed state. And let me repeat that. Why do I say that? The law and order in Haryana has gone to the dogs. Every day you are seeing cow vigilantes killing young people, innocent people, mob lynching. Just yesterday, a young 19-year-old student, Aryan Mishra, chased for 30 kilometers and shot dead by cow vigilantes. Doesn't happen in any part of the country. It happens in Haryana. You look at the unemployment situation, 37% is the CMI data for May 2024. 37% unemployment in Haryana. The youth of Haryana are going to Israel and Gaza for jobs. There are no jobs left in Haryana. So the people of Haryana deserve a better alternative. At this point, it is important for BJP to come out of power, BJP to be in the opposition rank. And the larger motive of us talking to the Congress is that we do not want a situation where, it comes to becoming a close fight. It doesn't look like a close fight. In return,
will you also have an alliance in Delhi, or will you pick and choose?
Rajdeep, we are not even talking about Delhi. Delhi is much farther away. We are talking about a state where BJP is in power. Where is BJP in Delhi? In one large car, one large SUV can accommodate all the BJP MLAs in Delhi. So we are talking right now about Haryana. Haryana, it is very important to unseat BJP, offer some semblance of governance and sanity to the people of Haryana. And for that, we are hoping that, these talks which are going on for the past 1 or 2 days will conclude.
Okay. Sandeep Shastri, when you look at the big picture of these elections, it comes on the backdrop of the Lok Sabha, so it's the first major test after it. Was I right when I started off by suggesting that it appears at the moment that the opposition has the momentum, particularly because many of these states have BJP-ruled governments and therefore there could be anti-incumbency both in Haryana and possibly in Maharashtra?
Rajdeep, you're right in saying that of the 4 elections, in 2, the BJP is the party which is defending its government. And if you look at the Lok Sabha election as the starting point for what we are going to see later this year, I think the Lok Sabha election provided us with a diversity dividend. The result was a diversity dividend. Now, who is going to reap the benefit of that dividend will be seen in the 4 assembly polls. In Haryana, you have a 5-5 seat in the Lok Sabha from that state for the two alliances. Remember also last time the BJP was able to win only 40 of the 90 seats, down from 47. And they had to go into an alliance with a regional party to be able to come to power. So the fight in Haryana is very clearly there, and it will depend upon how well the NDA, which is mainly the BJP in Haryana, and of course the opposition alliance comes together.
Who do you
the
think?
Fact that in Haryana
but
today
who do you think has the, who do you, because remember, Narendra Modi is not on the ticket. This is a Vidhan Sabha election. Mr. Modi is not on the ticket. This is not about 400 par. This is not about Modi ki guarantee necessarily. Do you believe that works to the advantage of the opposition, given that in recent elections we've seen a gap in the BJP's popularity, Lok Sabha to Vidhan Sabha in several states?
Rajdeep, I think the template will be similar to the Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh template. They will not declare a chief minister candidate. They will say we are fighting this election under the leadership of the Prime Minister, and they will seek votes in the state on that basis, because as is being said that there is an element of anti-incumbency. You fell from 47 seats to 40, 47 in 2014 and 40 in 2019. So the BJP would be very keen for a recovery, and the strategy would be a recovery trying to ride on the shoulders of what they would see as the support which the central leadership of the party enjoys.
So you're saying they will
The India coalition, on the other hand, would see an...
Go ahead.
The India coalition, on the other hand, would go hammer and tongs against the state government. It will once again be an election where the template will be national versus local, with the India coalition raising local issues and the NDA focusing on national issues. And I think that is going to be something we are not only going to see in Haryana, I suspect it will also be the case in Jharkhand, Maharashtra and in Jammu and Kashmir.
Tuin Sinha, would you at least accept, therefore, part of that analysis that was made there by Sandeep Shastri, that during the Lok Sabha elections, all your eggs were in Narendra Modi's basket in a way. Now you're going to have to fight perhaps on the competency or incompetency, whichever way it's seen, of your state leadership. Do you believe that the fact that the manner in which regional parties were broken in Maharashtra, the manner in which perhaps the farmers' agitation took place in Haryana, the anti-Article 370 decision in Jammu and Kashmir, all of this will now be much more localized? Does that worry you or not?
Rajdeep, at the end of the day, the voters still feel that the BJP-led coalition is far more credible than an opposition-led coalition. And, you may be underestimating the impact of what they have done, the financial anarchy which they have wreaked in Haryana and Karnataka. But that is going to be a very big factor in these assembly elections. Now, like the Congress has a twofold ulterior agenda, we have a twofold positive agenda, which is development, infrastructure development of an unprecedented scale, which you have seen in Maharashtra, and number two, nearly cent% deliverance of all social welfare schemes, which again is happening, and the two new schemes, Ladli Behan Yojana and Ladli Bhai Yojana, trust me, in the last 6 weeks have been a game changer. They will have a big impact on these elections.
Okay.
I heard my friend Dr. Kumar speak about Jharkhand. I closely am connected with Jharkhand politics. I can tell you for a fact that there is angst against the Soren family, because so far, most of the scams have been perpetrated by the Soren family, and with the new leader coming in from Chaibasa, Champai Soren, the Adivasis feel that they have an alternative. They relate more to the simplicity of this man who was insulted by Hemant Soren at the end of 4 months when he did everything to keep the JMM intact.
Okay. I will give a final quick word to you, Ajay Kumar, because there is also a belief that the Congress is getting overconfident. The fear is the Congress, as always, will be its own worst enemy. A quick response. Is there in Rahul Gandhi a belief that he's mistaking 99 seats for 272?
No, the question again, so let me make it quick. Firstly, for Twin's information, they've already given the ticket to the ex-jailer who gave payroll to Ram Rahim, and they were involved in it. Mr. Sangwan, whose father was an ex-MLA. So fact number 2 is Champai Soren is not from Chaivasa, he's from Saraikela. So just to keep your facts intact. Third point, the important thing is what infrastructure. Every second day a bridge is going down. Every third day somebody is collapsing. Even in Maharashtra, you couldn't even protect Chhatrapati Shivaji's statue. And you have the audacity to say infrastructure cracks in the bridge which 1,700 crores was spent. The Ram Mandir has got water leakage. So your infrastructure is, the Rampath got washed away in single rain. So you have a black history of infrastructure. And Bihar, every second day a bridge is going away. Railway line infrastructure. Every second day there is somebody.
I will give you 30 seconds. What are you fighting the election on?
The election is that the misgovernance. So let me put it.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Maharashtra, the pride of Maharashtra is gone. You have the most corrupt government ever seen.
Okay, next.
And insulted Sharad Pawar, insulted Uddhav Thackeray. Jharkhand, put up a chief minister, sitting chief minister in prison because he was an Adivasi, put him in 5 months without any evidence which the court has made it. So the pride of the locals and the pride of the people of Jharkhand have been terribly hurt. And this government. Third, Haryana. Awful misgovernance.
Okay, wait. We've lost the line there to Ajay Kumar. Jasmine Shah, for Aam Aadmi Party, what's at stake? 30 seconds.
No, I think the at stake is we wish to offer the kind of the Kejriwal model of governance, where today you see the best schools, best hospitals, so many facilities free of cost. You are able to see jobs. Delhi has one of the lowest unemployment rates and the inflation rates in the entire country. Why should the people of Haryana suffer just because they have been voting for BJP for the last 10 years? You get 8-hour power cuts in rural Haryana, which is very close to Delhi. So it is an awfully governed state. It has become a failed state. And it is time to turn the page for the people of Haryana.
Okay, so it's anti-incumbency, which the opposition seems to be counting on across these states. The BJP hoping that Narendra Modi's appeal will still work. The double engine, is it still around or has it sputtered to a halt? That's why these elections are important. Can Rahul Gandhi build that India alliance? Can Mr. Modi keep the double engine going? Appreciate all my guests joining me. So lots of questions swirling around IC-814 and the hijack in Kandahar from 1999. Who better to answer that than someone who had a ringside view of what was happening there? G. Parthasarathy was High Commissioner of India to Pakistan during that hijack period. So you, sir, in a sense, were one of those who had that ringside view to what was happening. And my first question is, how deeply involved was Pakistan and the ISI in this entire operation?
Well, the operation really was carried out by people who were in India. And it revolved around them.
But remote controlled by the ISI or the Al-Qaeda? Because the TV movie seems to suggest that the Al-Qaeda and Taliban were deeply involved.
That is ridiculous. It was totally Pakistani involvement. The persons concerned were Pakistanis. The people they wanted released were Pakistanis. So there's no question of Al-Qaeda. That's a far-fetched thing to say. And the fact of the matter is, the Al-Qaeda did not have any great relationships with Pakistan to the extent that they could carry it into a hijack.
Yeah, because you see, sir, this happens 1999. 2 years later, Al-Qaeda dominates the headlines with what happens in New York. Osama bin Laden becomes the most wanted. You're telling me in this month of December, in 1999, it was very clear that this was a Pakistan ISI operation to free the likes of Masood Azhar.
There may have been something operating from Afghanistan.
Yes.
But it's not Pakistan, so solely because if you notice, planes were taken back and landed in Kandahar. So there would definitely have been, or there was, inevitably been, because the Taliban were then an extension of the ISI.
The Taliban was controlled in a sense by the ISI from Islamabad.
Yes, they had a lot of influence on the Taliban.
So let's come to specifics. The plane did land in Lahore. You're the Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan. Do you recall asking the Pakistanis for help, and did they agree to help? What was the response that you got from your Pakistan interlocutors or the people you were speaking to in Islamabad?
Duplicitous.
Duplicitous?
Yes. Telling us that they would do the right thing and then not following through. In fact, later on, as this moved along, the hijacking, I wanted to send an official of mine, the Ghanshyam, to the place. They played all sorts of games.
So your officials were not given any access to Lahore airport or the authorities, or no question of you being allowed to negotiate?
I was prepared to go once the hijacked plane came. They delayed my departure from Islamabad to Lahore, and by that time the aircraft took off.
Do you believe, therefore, that because the aircraft went to various destinations, it went to Dubai as well, a commando operation was not allowed there. There was presumably no question of allowing a commando operation in Pakistan itself. So perhaps in hindsight was the best place to stop the plane for any operation Amritsar, where the plane had stopped. That was the one big mistake the Vajpayee government made then.
It is difficult to say that it was a mistake made, but because don't forget, they were armed. There were Indian passengers inside. It would have been irresponsible to try something militarily at that point in time. I also thought about it, but then I came to the conclusion, God, they're armed inside. They were not playing with...
So you're saying it wasn't going to be an easy operation, even a commando operation, given the fact that these were heavily armed, trained people involved in the operation?
Not heavily armed, but armed certainly, and that we were not willing to take risks with our own people. It was a whole flight of almost 200 people who were Indian.
But, you know, Mr. Parthasarathy, this was a tumultuous period that you were there as High Commissioner to Pakistan. It's a year that started with the Lahore bus yatra and then ends with this hijack. So, in a sense, one gets mixed messages again from Pakistan. 1 minute they're embracing you, next minute you've had Kargil, then you have a hijack. The sense you therefore get is that in that period, the army ISI had completely taken over the decision making in the Pakistani apparatus, and all these operations, whether what happened in Kargil or whether what happens in Kandahar, were all guided by the ISI and the Pakistani deep state.
The Pakistani army had a predominant role, yes. But there was certainly, I don't believe that, as they say in Hindi, doodh ke dhule hue, some of the politicians, no. And when push came to shove, when negotiations were there, and the way the whole thing was handled, the aircraft taken away from where it was to go, Amritsar taken off, then we were really frustrated. When I sent my officer, he couldn't go, had to go. They tell me when I say I insist on going, they delay it, then provide me a helicopter. And when the helicopter is halfway to Lahore, they say the plane has taken off.
You're telling me something very important. You're saying you were finally given permission to move to Lahore by a helicopter, but by the time you reach Lahore, the plane has already taken off.
By the time I'd got into the aircraft.
You know, give our viewers a sense of this ISI network at the time. The likes of Masood Azhar, who of course is again one of the most wanted today, Jaish-e-Mohammed. There were a number of others, Omar Sheikh and others at the time, all of whom were involved with this deep terror network. Do you believe in that late 90s period in particular, the ISI controlled the strings even of Taliban, as well as these terrorists operating out of Pakistan with their eye on India?
No, I don't think the ISI controls the Taliban. The Taliban were in Afghanistan.
Yes, but did the ISI sort of have a huge influence?
ISI had a very close relationship. They collaborated throughout the hijacking. When I finally, they took off from Pakistan and landed up in Afghanistan, we had to send people, arrange for the world, the External Affairs Minister himself, to come from Delhi for the negotiations. But it was all a farce. It was all a farce.
In hindsight, there have been those who have said that this was a fiasco also, in the sense that we should have never negotiated with the hijackers. We allowed thereby Masood Azhar to get away, the same Masood Azhar then who, as the leader of the Jaish, is involved in the terror attack on Parliament, on the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly, on Pulwama. Did we make a mistake in negotiating with the hijackers, or do you believe we had no option in hindsight?
In hindsight, you've got 200 odd of your citizens there, and they went all over the place, you know, including to Dubai and so on. So I think ultimately they hit upon the designation to get it done within
Kandahar. You see, but you see, once they were in Kandahar, where of course the Taliban is in power, you've got the ISI in complete control of Islamabad. That Islamabad-Kandahar nexus, in your view, was there from the beginning, from what you're saying. They were deeply involved. This was not some kind of an isolated operation. It was deep. It was completely thought of with the single agenda of freeing the likes of Masood Azhar.
Absolutely. It was to choose between the two of them, was a choice between Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
So in hindsight, could the Vajpayee government, in hindsight again, which is where, could the Vajpayee government have done something different? There was a lot of public sentiment also which wanted people to be freed at the time. There was a lot of pressure on the Vajpayee government from the families of the hostages. Could we have done something differently now that you look back on it to prevent the likes of Masood Azhar getting away so easily? Was that a huge embarrassment, the fact that the External Affairs Minister, Jaswant Singh himself, had to accompany Masood Azhar when he was to be freed in Kandahar?
I'll be frank also. I think the External Affairs Minister should have avoided that situation. He is the External Affairs Minister of India. He was sent there to negotiate the release. The negotiations were to take place. By which time the aircraft had taken off, headed for Dubai, various places, and then came back to Kandahar. So the thing is, as negotiator, he came back. I would have been happier if we maintained a certain distance, but dealt with them. But there were also people like Ajit Doval who knew what he was doing. He served in Pakistan with me during my first tenure in Karachi. He really knew the works. But the fact of the matter is, you've traveled into enemy territory and you settle on their terms, because that was it. For us, it was the lives of our passengers. But having said that, I think the negotiating team did a pretty good job, the best they could in the circumstances. I'm not very sure whether it needed the External Affairs Minister to come there, because it then became raised. But that was the cabinet decision taken in Delhi.
You know, a lot of people 25 years later will want to know the role of the ISI in the Pakistani establishment. How, as High Commissioner, how do you deal with the deep state of Pakistan, knowing that this is a deep state which is sponsoring terror against India, which is promoting the likes of Masood Azhar? How do you deal with it?
We have to bear one point in time. ISI is a part of the Pakistan army. The chief is appointed notionally by the Prime Minister, but really by the army chief. It is a very tight outfit, very hardcore, and pretty much a law unto itself in Pakistan, especially at that point in time. It has eroded with the passage of time. Right now, Imran Khan has been ousted from office by the army.
So if I may just take you back one last time, as I said, 1999 was a dramatic year. In a sense, did we let our guard down, both by doing the Lahore bus yatra, or do you think that was important, given the fact that we should have never trusted the Pakistani ISI establishment and what they plan to do against India?
Look, Mr. Vajpayee had set his heart on this. That's the reality. And we did have these setbacks. But let us not forget that after these setbacks, with General Musharraf around, and Musharraf was the army man who, when I was there, was creating all the problems. We had a good back-channel discussion with them and took things forward. But I don't think that's going to happen again.
If I may ask you, though, when Masood Azhar and the terrorists are released, they go to Bawalpur, places in Pakistan, establish bases. Did you, as High Commissioner, reach out to your Pakistani counterparts in their Foreign Office and say, what is this? You are actually housing the very terrorists who have been released in this hijack operation. How can Pakistan then have deniability? Did you raise it? Were you allowed to raise it? And what was their response? Was there always deniability?
By the time I reached there, we were into the Kargil conflict. So we were really stuck with this. Musharraf, who later on turned out to be quite different, masterminded that. It was the army chief. And the other point I wish to make is that we have far too much faith in the Sharif family. They are the ones, I mean, the Kargil conflict took place under Sharif's leadership. He surely knew what he was doing. And this was just after Mr. Vajpayee's visit.
But every time you raise the Kandahar hijacking with the Pakistan Foreign Ministry or officials in Pakistan, what's their response? The fact is that the hijackers have freed terrorists, wanted terrorists, and they are now in Pakistan. Masood Azhar, of course, still there. Did they ever was there even the slightest hint that they gave you?
There was never, leave aside anything, within the military which rules Pakistan. There was no feeling of why did we do it or anything. They just moved on. So it's very easy from outside to say that this is the case. When I went there, Mr. Vajpayee was received like a king. At the same time, Musharraf was pushing his forces across the line of control.
So it was purely duplicitous. All these years later, have you watched the film, by the way, on Netflix yet? Are you looking forward? Are you going to watch it?
I must tell you, in my house, my wife also watches Netflix. But
I'm going to tell Mrs. Parthasarathy, please do watch the series, because I would love to know your critical evaluation. There is a clear view that it gives far too much of a clean chit to the ISI. You on this program are making it very clear.
I am making it clear.
This operation was clearly driven by the ISI.
It was clearly, and any Indian who's saying that that's not the case, he's talking through his hat.
Okay. I think that's as clear as possible by someone who was deeply involved during that period as High Commissioner to Pakistan. Mr. Parthasarathy, appreciate your joining us here and setting the record straight.
Thank you so much.
Mr. G. Parthasarathy, former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan, on what happened during the Kandahar hijack. Good news today's story, and it comes from a very special sports person. A permanent leg damage from an accident in 2009 did not stop Haryana's Nitish Kumar from becoming a Paralympic gold medalist in Paris this year. He competed in badminton in the SL3 category, which is for players with severe lower limb disabilities, bagged the gold. As we celebrate his success, I am delighted to welcome Nitish on the broadcast. I spoke to him a short while ago, and I began by asking him, Nitish, has the victory sunk in? How did you celebrate this terrific achievement? First of all, many congratulations. How did you celebrate this great achievement?
My celebration, I think everyone saw that live on everywhere. That how I celebrated it. It was completely unplanned. It was just emotions coming out in however way it could. And yeah, even when I saw myself later, the way I was celebrating, I kind of smiled at myself. But after winning gold, everything is worth and everything makes sense. Now it hasn't started sunking in now, but the moment I was at the podium, the national anthem being played and the national flag going up, it was completely different feeling. I had the goosebumps and current in all my body, and then I could see my teammates having tears in their eyes, and I kind of had a flashback of all my journey from all this far, and then everything felt worth at that moment.
You know, you spoke about your journey, and I wanted to know more about it. We hear you wanted to join the Navy, you played football, then you had a train accident which affected you. You didn't, however, lose hope. You graduated from IIT in engineering. At what point then, amidst all this, did you take up badminton to become an Olympic champion?
Yeah, of course. My father was in Indian Navy, so I always was fantasizing about the uniforms and the medals and everything. So I always thought of going into defense and serve the nation. But yeah, of course, the unfortunate accident in 2009 collapsed all those dreams. And then I was unaware about what to do, how to do, and then just as per this social stigma, I had to follow a path which have less physical activities. So I started focusing on badminton. I started focusing on studies. And then when I got into IIT, that's where I started playing badminton for recreation. And then I didn't really realize when I got into the sport so much that it became a passion, and I started pursuing it every day. And then it started with a dream to play for the college team, and then soon when I got to know about para sports, everything was a build up after that naturally.
You know, it's terrific. Tell me, India has had a very proud record in badminton. Who are your idols? Who inspired Nitesh Kumar?
Initially, when I got into para sports, every para athlete who I met was a source of inspiration for me, because everyone came back from a different background, came from different disabilities, different struggle, and getting to know everyone's story kind of motivated me in every different way. But specifically, if we talk about Pramod Bhaiya was the main source of inspiration for me, because I somehow got along with him very well right from the start, and then we used to have our time when I used to, as a fanboy, I used to ask him, Bhaiya, how did that feel, and what was going through your mind and all, and everything. Then the time when I kept on knowing him better, everything inspired me more. And other than para sports, yeah, Virat Kohli's journey and the way he has been disciplined and passionate about the sport, yeah, it motivates me a lot, and it inspires me a lot.
Fantastic. What next for you, my friend? Will you go back to electrical engineering, or is there another Olympic medal in mind and a full-time career in a way in Paralympic sport?
Of course, the engineering part is long far away now. I've done my BTech, but I don't plan to work for the corporates and get into that line, because this is what makes me more passionate about. So yeah, I'm definitely going to continue playing badminton, but as of now, I just want to focus on celebrating and enjoying this win before setting up a new goal and before starting up a new journey ahead.
Well, Nitesh, you have every reason to celebrate, and we celebrate with you. I'm told since the morning you've been deluged with interview requests. Fantastic that you won that Olympic gold at the Paralympics. Congratulations on behalf of all of us in the entire country. You've done us proud. Thank you so much. Nitesh Kumar, our Good News Today story, and what a story it is. On that note, you stay well, stay safe, good night, Shubhratri, Jai Hind, Namaskar.